Good morning. Good morning. We are in May. We are on the May Sales Mastery Call. Put in the chat where you're coming in from. Why are you here? What are you excited to learn today? You can put any of that stuff in the chat. We got Katie Besso here from beautiful Reno, Nevada, just 3 doors down the hallway. And we got Mr. Sean Herrero from the Bay Area. We got some West Coasters here. Hello, Katie Poyser in Fargo, North Dakota.
No,
Headley's working with me twice today. I get to see you twice today. Hello, Rachel Schultz. Hello, Amy. What's up, Walt? Hi, Kim Barrows. Hi, Amanda. Amanda's with me twice today. What's up, Michelle Caldwell? I've got a lot of my Catalyst members that are also showing up for these calls. It's pretty damn cool. All right, I'm going to just give everybody another 30 seconds to join, and then we'll kick it off. Hello, Heath Barnes. What's up? I didn't see you in the chat, so now I'm going to get around to your faces and see you all. Hello, hello, hello. All right. I have got my website open, something I'm very, very proud of and excited about. It's still so new. I've only had it for, maybe a month or month and a half. But I wanted to point to the Mortgage Rainmaker podcast because for sure, Katie and Sean are going to blow your mind and you're going to want to hear more from them. They both did incredible episodes on the podcast. But you will see right now I'm publishing 2 a week. That will drop down to 1 a week, but I wanted to give you guys a body of work of content that you could binge and listen to. Many of these you just need to listen to more than once because there's some really good scripting in there. But we have both Katie and Sean as guests on the podcast. So you can just visit ShaylaGifford.com or you can go to anywhere you listen to the podcast, Spotify, Apple, what have you. How many of you, you could just put your hands in the air. I'm looking at your faces. I've ever wondered, like, how do I get out of buddy selling mode and into professional selling mode? Anybody have that problem? Want to know how to deal with that? Okay. How many of you also are like, oh my gosh, I know I'm competing with somebody else. How do I stay confident in my value and confident in my process? Anybody else have that? I'm competing and I want to stay confident. Okay. So those are 2 things we're going to cover. Katie and Sean could both present on a bazillion things, but I've teased out these 2 things. Why? Because I hear this stuff a lot. I have a lot of loan officers right now that'll DM me, that'll listen to a podcast and ask a question. They'll come to one of these trainings, they'll book a strategy call, or they work for me and we're on sales calls and sales hustles. And as you guys all know, I am focused on helping you become a rainmaker. Okay. A rainmaker is somebody who is showing up as the biggest version of themselves, and they are going out and creating opportunity. Creating opportunity begins with seeing more people. And what I can tell you that I've been reminded of over the last several months in creating this work is that getting belly to belly with people, meeting strangers, putting yourself out there, asking the questions, this is where we actually create our own luck and create opportunity. And so my hope and wish is that you embody the identity of being a rainmaker. So many people have been in order taker mode for a long time in our industry. And if they got out of order taker mode, they went into the buddy mode. And sometimes they get into the salesperson mode. I want you to get all the way to rainmaker mode, okay? Which is working a plan and working by design. Today, I'm not going to work you through the assessment, but on that same website, my website, ShaylaGifford.com, you can go take your archetype assessment. And since this is all still so new and it's going to relate back to Sean Herrero and Katie Besso today, I want to remind you of the 4 archetypes. Okay. This is what I see. You want to be a rainmaker. I see 4 archetypes. You are going to have 2, a primary and a secondary generally, but you've got to work in tandem with both. Many of you on this call are trust builders. A trust builder focuses on building deep, meaningful relationships, but with fewer people. You don't know enough people. You keep your circle really tight, but you are lethal when you get one-on-one. You're great at making friends. A networker loves meeting new people and expanding their network. They feel comfortable in large groups and small groups. But sometimes they don't take the meeting into actual conversion into what Katie's going to teach today and turn it into a business meeting. Okay. No, hey, bro, or hey, girl selling. We need to turn that into a professional meeting. And by the way, you still got to be networking. Even if you're burned out and you're tired and you're like, I don't even like people, you need to stretch that comfort zone and go network and go have these one-on-ones. And as marketers, you're great at telling stories. You see opportunities to connect the dots for people all the time and tell stories. Maybe you then love getting on video or social media or doing email stuff, and you're a good marketer. But at the core of who you are, you're good at telling stories and moving people with stories. Sean, this is you. You're great at telling stories. Finally, technicians. A technician, if I boil it down, is somebody who's strategic. Technicians like to find the most efficient way to get something done. They like to solve challenges and puzzles. Maybe they even love the details, the paperwork, the guidelines. They feel more comfortable behind their desk than they do out there with human beings at times, and they can get stuck writing a plan forever without executing. So you've got to be able to use both of your archetypes, one to open the door and one to close the door. You've got to find a way to use your archetype to scale and meet more people. Okay. Now, once you understand your archetype, these are the 5 things that you need to do to embody being a rainmaker. You got to have a rainmaker mindset.
Now you've got your results. You've got your primary.
Someone's doing the assessment. They're off mute. Who is that? Can you mute them?
Natural.
Is it you, Sean? Did you go do the assessment right now, Sean? Okay. There's a video after you do the assessment. It usually takes 4 minutes and it's me talking, but you have a rainmaker mindset. A rainmaker mindset means that you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go create my own luck. My number one job is to make it rain and generate referrals, not leads, referrals. People see me as a credible expert, as a partner, and they refer me strongly. Number 2, you work a plan. You know when you're going to prospect. You have green time, you have red time, you have time management. You probably work theme days. On Monday, you do this. On Tuesday, you do this. On Wednesday, you do that. 3rd, you book 2 appointments a day. We are in sales. Salespeople book appointments. Salespeople take meetings. I used to have something on my monitor that read, I make calls to book appointments. I'm not making calls to check in. I'm not making calls to chit chat. I make calls to book appointments. I want 2 appointments a day. 4th, you got to be bold and always ask for the next step. Today, I want you to see how both Katie and Sean use the next step and are bold in what they do and the discipline practice that they have. That's what's going to drive your confidence, is your discipline on working your system versus your personality and how you feel, right? Our personality and our feelings go like this. Our process and our business and our discipline should not. This is how we do things, have a way of doing things. The last thing a rainmaker does is track everything. Okay. For me, getting on a greatness tracker with the core, and then eventually getting on my Catalyst planner and tracking how many calls I make, what's going on with my day, what are my top 3 priorities. Rainmakers don't just wing it all day long. They literally come in laser focused. So with that in mind, I want to give you the goal of a rainmaker, and that is to generate A referrals, A leads. Everybody write this down. Here's what an A lead is. An A lead is somebody that is highly referred. Highly referred, Nick. Second, an A lead will do business your way. They'll follow your process. You're going to see that Sean has a way. Katie has a way. Do you have a way, or are you winging it? Because an A lead will follow your process. You have a winning process. And the third thing is they're ready and able to transact. They have the means, right? Now, when we're all working with A leads, how fun is this business? It's a blast. These people, they're highly referred. They'll come follow your process. They have the money. The reason that we get burnt out or we're not having fun is because we're working with B and C leads. So a B lead is missing one of those attributes. Write it down, Amy Rowe. A B lead is missing one. And a C lead is missing two. So I teach this to real estate agents all the time because you can still make a lot of money with B leads. Okay. What's a B lead? You work an open house. Somebody comes in, they're super wonderful. They'll follow your process and do it your way. They'll come have a professional presentation at the office. They'll go look at only 4 to 5 homes at a time. They'll work in your business hours and your schedule. And they've got $800,000 cash. You can make a lot of money with B leads, but it's still a B lead. They still weren't highly referred to you. You're still kind of worried, like, is this person really bought into me? Are they shopping me? Are they going to follow through? Right? It's like all of us that get their agent that gives out 3 business cards and says, here, call these 3 people. Is that highly referred? Nope. That's a B lead, right? How fun is a C lead? They got a 500 FICO and they weren't highly referred to you. They're like, well, I saw you on Zillow or you're a friend of this person, or they gave me 3 cards. I've got, they'll come in and meet with you. They'll come into your office, so they'll follow your process, but they've got a 500 credit score and they weren't highly referred. How fun is those kind of leads to chase down all day? Sucks, right? So you can become a rainmaker who builds win-win partnerships, have a process, and generate A leads. All right, I'm going to kick off with Katie, but I want you to write down these 5 steps with taking a agent who you don't even know yet, okay? To all the way to being like a badass partner, like a true partner that is like one of your top of tops. Step number 1 is you got to get them to that coffee appointment. I'm just going to call it a coffee appointment because they're really effective when you break bread. There's something different that happens when you're meeting with somebody over coffee, wine, lunch, breakfast. It's a really familiar place. You don't generally break bread with strangers. There's an intent there if somebody's showing up to a coffee appointment with you. Okay. So that's step 1. In step 1, I call this the Ford meeting. It's building rapport. Ford stands for F-O-R-D. F is family. O is occupation. R is recreation. What do they do for fun? D is dreams. I was just on my Catalyst call this morning and we were talking about how when you're in that meeting, you're looking for their pain. You're also looking to make sure you really, really, really like them and that there's an energy match and a values match and everything else. But you've got to ask specific questions about their experience with other loan officers. So, hey, Kim, tell me about your experience with working with other loan officers. If you could be a loan officer for the day, what would you change? What do you like? What don't you like? Hey, tell me who you work with right now, Mike. What do you love about what they do? Here's something tricky. When you say something, Dan Tharp, if I say to you, tell me about the loan officer you work with now. And he's like, oh, I work with Mike Carpenter. I've known him for 20 years. What do you love about what Mike does for you as a loan officer? Not what do you like about Mike? Because they're like, yeah, I like Mike. What do you like about his process? What do you like about how he shows up as a loan officer? When you say love, often they're like, well, I don't love it. I wish blah, 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 blah. And they will tell you their pain. Step 1, Ford meeting. Some of you need to go back in time with some of your realtors because you've gotten out of touch or they've continued to grow and expand. They start as a buyer's agent. Now they're a listing agent. Now they're a small team. Now they're a big team. And what they care about and what their problems have moved. The ball has moved. And you got to stay connected with them on having that meeting. Some of you got to go back to step 1. Step 2 is now you have a business presentation. Okay. It's a 2-step close. And Katie's going to teach that part. Step 3 is now come watch me work. Katie's going to talk about that too. It's like, now I've showed you how I work. Now I want you to watch me work. Come to a pre-approval meeting and watch me. Okay. 4th, now that they've referred you leads, they've watched you work. Now I would introduce them to your team and show them behind the scenes on how the sausage is made. The more people on your team that they can respect, admire, understand, the more they're bought into your whole business. And then the fourth is, or the fifth is have fun with people. Get into flow with them, go golfing, go to a concert, go on a walk, go on a hike, have happy hours, do book clubs, all that stuff. Here's the problem with most loan officers. They don't do a good initial meeting and ask really good questions to find the pain. Then they don't close and ask for a second step. They are just buddy, hoping that eventually they'll have a lead and give me a lead. So those two things have to happen. Okay. Or they jump all the way to step 5 and they just start playing with people and they don't have a business relationship. Okay. Put in the chat if you feel guilty on any of those things in your process. And what? Or just raise your hand, Ryan. or just raise your hand, Vicki. Okay. All of you are like, all right, help us out. All right. So, Katie Besso is my sister. She has worked with me now officially this month, 9 years. She started as a college kid. I tricked her into come doing a project for me over a winter break. And then she slowly came into like a marketing coordinator. And then she was an LP1 doing my leads. And then she was a junior LO. Now she's a sales manager. She runs the Gifford team. We did $85 million in business last year. Together, we've touched hundreds of loans together, but she's now officially running her own business. This was her second year. She won President's Club again last year at 60 million. Katie's at 21 million year to date. So she is hustling. She's doing about 12, 13 deals. She's got one lead admin on her team, Evan, 23 years old, just teaching the guy from scratch, stud. And then she shares a pre-approval manager that helps tighten up all of our pre-approvals and send her stuff to TBDs. Katie, you've had 32 different realtors refer you, and you are a trust builder technician. So talk to us about sitting at the coffee appointment. What do you say to get the next step meeting? And then let's see how you do that meeting.
Cool. All right. The evolution of the second step has really happened over the past 6 months or so. I find myself guilty of exactly what you said, like what pain point or what step in that process are you failing? And for me, it was always the initial coffee. You know, I would show up and I would never have that close into what I wanted next. And I really determined that I wanted to make people like me, but if I didn't like them, there was like, you're dead to me, move on to the next. I don't really like people that much. So I never dove in as deep as I should have. So the evolution of how it's changed is, you know, number one, I really tried to get deep with people. I tried to ask the right questions, but I also, for the first time in my career, I shared a lot about myself. I really got to a vulnerable state of like sharing what was going on in my life, because I wanted them to really understand that I was not the partner that was going to hang out with them or ask them about their life or check in on their kids. I was going to be the partner that could help them make more money, but I wasn't going to get emotional with them. So I wanted to show them that I was a real person and then evolve into how that went from there. So when I had these coffees appointments and I was able to understand who they are, you know, my goal throughout this was to really understand and try to ask those questions about figuring out what their problems were and where they were really lacking. Because at the end of the meeting, if I really determined that, hey, this is someone who I could actually see myself working with, is I wanted to initiate a next step for them. And I wanted to close them because I knew that even though I could get to know them in this meeting, they weren't really going to see what was going to make me a good partner until they actually came and sat in my office. So
Pause.
As I went, yeah.
So I agree that, and I coached you very clearly on this, that you need to start sharing your heart.
Yeah.
You need to like lay it out on the freaking table. You need to rip your heart out, put it on the table. They might spit on it or stomp on it. But if you don't, if you hold this professional thing up, and Katie's only 31, so she's 29, she's getting out there. It's a very common thing for you to go, I'm going to be extra professional and put together. And I was like, no, be human, be messy, be raw, be real. That's what people go, oh my gosh, I love this girl. So in 30 seconds, what is some of the stuff that you did to take your heart out so that people are like, oh, I get why she's driven the way she is?
You know, I shared what brought me to the point of where I was today in a business sense, though. I said, I grew up in a household where my parents were divorced at a young age. My siblings were older than me, so all moved out. So I kind of was raised in this like unstable household where siblings have all gone to college. My dad died when I was 25 years old, and I had to shut down his business and manage all of this. And then, early in my marriage, I sent my husband to rehab, and I'm like, geez, Louise, let me figure this out. Because at the end of the day, not only did I feel like all of these things were against me, but I had to show up every day and support my team and keep and maintain my partners. And so when I shared all of this with them, I said, I share this with you because the way that I survived was I created processes so that no matter what was going on in my life, I could show up to work every single day and I just do the exact same thing. And I know that it will help your clients, it'll help my clients, and we'll both make money and grow our business doing it. And
okay,
so that's
pause.
what it was.
How many of you guys love Katie 3 times more because she just shared that? That wasn't deep. It wasn't long. You figured out how to give enough context. You guys all have a story. You can give enough context in 2 minutes. I had this pain, and because of this pain, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. By the way, I wanted to empower my husband to quit his job because that's where the super toxic family bullshit was happening, which now I'm the primary breadwinner. I have to make this work. How many of you guys are competitive and you have to make this work? You are the breadwinner. Tell people that. They're commission only, you're commission only. It's bonding. Okay. All right. So Katie, you say I have a process, and you've said the next step is I'd like to invite you to my office so you can see what I do.
Yep.
All right. So now we're in your office. So how does that go?
Cool. So I sell it as come into my office so you can really see, not only what your clients experience, but let me show you what it's like to be a professional. Because I also work with a lot of agents who range from like 60 years old to 30 years old. And I still find that I'm shocked that so many of them aren't very professional. So I wanted to bring them in to really show them that. So a lot of my meeting is actually just diving into our systems and sharing my screen with them almost the entire time. Spend 10 minutes like recapping how's life, you shared this with me, you went to Disneyland, whatever it is, but then actually going in and saying, hey, here's what's going to help us both make money. Because at the end of the day, I am best going to serve you when I'm here sitting in my office, nowhere else. And I promise to you that the way I've built my business is I'm here from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you know that I'm working my butt off during that time. And here's what I'm doing. Do you want me to share my screen and show you kind of some of them? Cool. Okay. So one of the main things that I share with them is I share with them our CRM. Because a big aspect of what we're doing is I want them to really understand how we obsessively track leads for them, how we send the reporting to them, and how to allow them to read it so they understand what is going on with those transactions. So as leads come through, our team, myself, and then of course the LOA Evan, we're inputting things in here. We're categorizing them by the stage. We're putting next steps in there, but we're also using our follow-up system, and our agents know what's in this follow-up system. So I say, hey, here's how I track leads for some of our agents. I always track when my communication was to them, how many times I've attempted to reach them, what stage they're at. And I'm updating you constantly, because what I really wanted to sell them on was, hey, if I can know that when a lead comes to me, you do not have to worry about anything. You know exactly what's going on with it, and I'm going to obsessively update you on it. You can go out and chase more deals because I'm actually better at converting people to this next step than you are. So I show them through this leads. I send them all of our lead trackers, but I also share with them exactly what I'm going to be saying to their clients as I go through different steps of the sequence. Because what I think people enjoy is knowing that every single time they refer a client to me, the process is going to look the exact same. So they can give confidence of knowing that it's taken care of, and they can share with their people what to expect. So I share with them some of our favorite sequences, guild CRM partners with this system that allows us to create custom tracking and custom scripts that follow up with people in like different cadences. So I share with them, here's how I work with your referral lead. So when a lead comes over to me, here's what you can expect from me. You can expect that when a lead comes over, I'm going to attempt them 7 times in the first 5 days. And here's exactly what I'm going to say to them. When I call them, when I text them, I'm always putting your name in it to re-edify the relationship with you, depending on how it comes over. At this point, it also allows me to really understand where people are getting their leads and how they're referring them to me. Are these leads coming from Zillow or online or open houses? I might not put them on this type of script because these might not be people who are expecting a phone call from Katie Besso at Guild Mortgage. If they're a warm referral, then I'm setting it up on a different sequence that's having a completely different tone to it because they likely know who I am and what to expect. So I share all of this with them. I share with them how we follow up with clients once they've gotten fully pre-approved or fully underwritten with us. Over the span of 130 days, we're calling them about every other week to see how the house hunt is going. And throughout this, the scripting is also asking, how is your agent doing? So I can tell the agent that I'm asking the questions so that if your client has something that they don't like, they're feeling safe to share it with me, and then I'm reverse sharing it with you. And then we share, what do we do post-closing? We re-edify them throughout it. This has been somewhere where we've really grown because we've noticed that a lot of our agents don't actually know how to call and follow up with their clients after they close. So we built sequences that re-edify the agent, and the agent is on the communication. So they know what's going on with their clients way before they get under contract, all the way to an entire year after the client buys. So I share with them our CRM. I share with them how we follow up with clients at lead, pre-approval, and closing timelines. And I also share with them how we're going to update them throughout it. So on our team, we have a cadence of kind of what is expected so that if 2 people on our team are working with the same agent, they're getting the same type of follow-up. So the agent is knowing that, can you guys see this new sheet? Cool. The agent is knowing that we're doing calls, we're doing sequences, and we're updating them throughout the transaction so they know exactly what is going on. So at any point, they can search in their email, Vicky McSweeney, and see all of the communication and any attempts that we've ever had with this client. So that's what we're showing with them when they come in here. Pre-approval process, lead follow-up, things like that. And then there's always a next step. I've gone from coffee to let me show you what I do to let me actually prove it to you in person. So I actually invite them to come in to our pre-approval meetings. I'd say about 80% of our pre-approval meetings, their agent is actually in person with me in the office. And that's probably been one of the biggest game changers that we've had in our business.
Oh my gosh, let's give it up for Katie Besso. Woo!
I've never felt so inadequate before.
This is the modern loan officer right there. I got to tell you, I've got 75 LOs on my team. They all have access to this technology. We share a lot, and there's still a lot of them that have not put these things in place, which is why I wanted to put Katie here to show you, because she tells you why she created process. She doesn't want to live in chaos. She already feels chaos. She wants to find her confidence through her process. She wants to find her confidence through her discipline. She wants to find her confidence through saying, I have something that's really valuable. It's not relying on just her. And I'll tell you guys, so many loan officers right now, they are looking in the mirror and they don't feel confident. Like, what is my value? How do I stand out? And so build your process so much that you're confident about your process, and then you can build your own confidence in the process of it, right? Katie and I have totally different personalities. She approaches things totally differently than I did, right? Even though we're siblings 13 years apart. I also want to note that Katie's a trust builder and that she's a technician. Trust builders really care about that customization so that she's talking to a lead that makes sense. I would have never thought about that, because I'm a networker, so it wouldn't even occurred to me, right? Katie's working with 32 different agents that have referred her this year. I never see her leave this office. Okay. I forced her to get out there and see our builders a little bit. But she never leaves. So For those of you that are technicians, this is the way to sell from your desk. Have people come into your power zone and do it. The final thing I want to say, Katie, is that you're meeting, what percentage of people are coming in person to the office?
For that second step or for pre-approvals?
I'm talking about clients now for pre-approvals.
Oh, for client pre-approvals, I would say about 90% of ours come in office.
So that's because it's your standard. It's your process. This is the way we work.
I will book an appointment 3 weeks out and delay them looking at homes simply to have them come in office. And our agents know that because they know that the likelihood and probability that someone closes when they come into our office, because we study and track this, is 66%. Every 2 out of 3 clients that come in close. So they're willing to delay showing homes and getting a paycheck simply to have someone come in depending on their schedule.
Fantastic. A lot of loan officers are like, nobody wants to meet with me. Nobody wants to come in person. That's a belief. Is it really true? Or is that just the belief you've told yourself? Okay. I want to see if there's any questions coming up because I thought you did such a fantastic job. There's probably some stuff here. Amanda said, is that system use sequence? I'm assuming you're wondering what this system is, Amanda. Is that correct? Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah. It's outreach. So outreach is partners with it and it directly ties into our CRM. So it actually logs every call scripting. It allows us to track if people actually open our emails. So that's what we're using.
How many different sequences do you have? You have a warm lead, kind of warm lead, hot lead, Zillow referral, blah, blah, blah. Like how many different sequences have you built?
We've built it out over the last year or so, but I'd say there's probably only about 25, which seems like a lot, but we build custom sequences for agents. One of the ways we wanted to sell is if I was not feeling like I was getting traction with an agent, I'd call them and say, hey, do you have 50 leads that you haven't been able to convert? I'd build them a custom sequence and I'd attempt to connect those leads for them. And when they saw that I was calling a lead 12 times, they suddenly were like, okay, you're willing to hustle for these. It just built that, initial appointment.
Again, trust builder. She's going, how can I build trust with you? How can I demonstrate and use my processes, technician, to build trust with you, trust builder? So yeah, Allison's saying really smart. Allison Larson also uses a lot. I know you guys bang your heads together on always refining your processes. Mm-hmm. For all of you that are on my team that are on this call, every one of those outreach sequences that Katie has or Allison has, you can just do a save as and they're yours. You do not have to start from scratch. You literally can just take it off. The other thing for any of you who are, especially here in Reno, you should probably just come over and sit with Katie and watch her do it. Say, can I sit in one of those meetings? Can I watch you do it? Can I see how you do it? Going and doing a site visit with somebody is one of the most profound experiences because so much in our head, we just can't visualize it. When you get to go see it and touch it and smell it, and you're like, oh, okay, I could do that, right? Any other questions that we have? And then I'll have Sean take the show. Katie just killed it. I got another message coming on the side, Katie. All right, fantastic. Sean Herrero has been a $100 million producer for many years in a row. But what I love about Sean is he didn't start out as a retail LO. He started out on the wholesale side. And he was motivated to become a retail LO because after training and supporting all of us retail LOs and nobody doing what he said, he finally said, well, if I can't get them to do it, I'll just do it and I'll beat them and I'll do it better than them. You haven't been an independent retail LO for that long, Sean, but your rise and your success has been phenomenal. And you do it with a smile. You're still enjoying what you're doing. You're currently in your van because he's got one of those cool, what kind of van is that?
Sprinter van.
He's got a cool Sprinter van that he can work from. And he's currently on a real estate tour and taking time to be here today. You guys probably see him a lot on Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. He's just such a giver. He also has a really mega small team and he's really, really in the weeds. Like he's the real deal, meeting with clients every single day. You do have bigger loans that helps you with the 100 million, Sean. We're going to give that.
But I have tiny loans too. I do a lot of business in Virginia. I've been crushing $100,000 and $200,000 loans this year.
You work with a lot of veterans, and you are did you just take the assessment again? Did Did it come up
No, I
as
only did it once. I never, I
okay?
don't, yeah, I'll explain that.
I think technician marketer. I think you're a damn good storyteller, but you're a technician through and through, and your strategery and all that kind of stuff. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so I took the test because I should probably see what it says to see if Shayla's right, and you were spot on.
Okay, good. Yes.
Absolutely spot on. And then I ordered my Catalyst day planner right after that.
Oh, cool. Awesome. We've got tutorial videos, by the way, on the planner, which for any of you that need those, we'll figure out how to get them to you. All right. So Sean, you literally had a customer this week, husband and wife, were like, one was sold on using somebody else, and they were like honest with you about it. And you had to come in and be like, okay, I'm in second place right now. I'm the underdog. So tell us about that scenario. Walk us through your process of meeting with a client and take it away.
Yeah. So on that story specifically, so I feel that I'm good at converting. I hate the word leads, right? I don't refer to realtors when they refer someone to me. They referred me their client. They didn't refer me a lead. It's just some weird thing I have about salesy because I'm a marketer, I guess. So I referred this couple, got them pre-approved, saw they did another credit pull with someone else, and then we finally did our Zoom. So just like Katie says, like, you have to come to my office, this is the process because your clients will get home faster if they do this. Mine is we have to do a Zoom right after you fill out your loan application. Otherwise, like, we have to do that because I want to go through their buyer's guide. I want to go through what rates are doing. Like, I have to have that be part of my process. So we did that on Saturday, and the buyers were like, they're sitting next to each other. Full disclosure, Sean, I was referred to you by this realtor, and my wife was referred to another realtor who obviously has another lender. We're not sure who we're going to work with yet. And you could just see in his wife's face, she's like, it's not going to be this guy. So, and so we went into the details. And so I'm a big mortgage coach person. I'm a visual learner. I can't explain something if I can't look at it, right? And I don't want to sell anyone anything. I want to look at the data. I want to explain my opinion of the data. And then if they choose to disagree, that's totally fine, but they can see where my advice is coming from. So we're going through that. And he goes, well, we got approved for less with the other lender. And he said, we'd need like roughly 20 grand above and beyond our down payment. Like, what is that? And I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, his email, he just sent me an email and said, hey, you're approved for 650, not a million. You're approved for $650,000. And you need like 20 grand over your down payment. And I, in Mortgage Coach, opened it up, go to the fee detail of the breakdown of the closing costs. I'm like, why have your closing costs at $13,192? And here's the breakdown. I'm assuming this is what he's referring to. He didn't give you anything like this? No, he just gave us like a blanket email. Oh, okay, that's interesting. And I go into, we use Encompass. I go into Encompass, share screen. Here's what I'm looking at. I approved you on FHA, and here's why. The mortgage insurance is lower, the rate's lower. So the blend is going to have a lower cost for you than conventional would have. Just like all in the weeds, right? And that call was Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., right? It took an hour to get through that with them. It was over. Like, it was over before it started because I'd gone into that depth. And that call, and then the call was great. And then Shayla reached out, and I was just like, this is such amazing, like, serendipitous timing, because the reason the lead conversion is high is because of the depth. And people say they don't have time to go into detail, and that's why they don't convert. I had the exact same thing happen. I had to drive to Sacramento yesterday for a realtor meeting who bought me lunch somehow. Yeah, so I'm on the phone, same deal. Like, we work with this person at this company, but he retired. We got assigned, our account got assigned to another lender. I'm a nurse. I just shifted jobs a little bit because of my family. I'm like, okay, no problem. This is what we'll do. Technician. I'm like, this will be your income calc, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, is it a big deal that I'm making this shift? I'm like, no, not at all. Life happens while you're buying a house. She's like, the other lender like scolded me for making this life choice. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Life comes before the house fits into the life. And again, it was like, it was on. And so for me, I think what I try to do is treat people like humans. And like what Katie said earlier, I hate going second. What Katie said earlier was so powerful. I wrote it in the notes here somewhere. Like, she was vulnerable with the people she talks to. So she's a human. She can be empathetic, because I went broke in 2017, flat broke, trying to help mortgage advisors do more business. I had no choice but to become one in 2017. And I am empathetic to, I know there are people in our industry that are going through what I went through. And I don't want anyone to ever feel the way I felt. And I know how to get out of it. And it's not by selling anyone, it's by being a human in a time when humans are just looking for more ways to replace themselves. Like AI is a great tool, but you should not use it to do the work for you. I'm sure with Katie's templates, if she has an interaction with the client, she's not going to just auto send. She's going to go, this probably wouldn't fit that well with this individual person. I'm going to humanize this so that it relates to them. And I feel like we're getting away from all of that right now, and people want it more than ever.
You're dang right. Okay. So when you do a mortgage coach for this family, they've already been pre-approved with somebody else. So you were lucky that they're willing to do it a second time. I also heard very clearly, like you closed 130 deals last year and you're still taking a pre-approval meeting on a Saturday. So how do you keep a good attitude about that? And how did you like go, ooh, I'm competing. I'm going to dazzle you. Like, what's that whole mindset?
So what I do, I was very apprehensive of using a service like Calendly because at first it felt to me like it was, oh, I'm mightier than thou. Put yourself on my calendar, peasant. You know, that's how I felt Calendly would feel. And it was a game changer of we're setting expectations. So we all say we're supposed to, we have to be available 24/7. Nobody said you had to do that. They just want to know when you are available. And Calendly gives me the ability to do that. So on Saturdays, I have 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. blocked on my calendar to where I'm an early bird. I get up early, knock it out, and then I have the whole day with my family still, right? So, but I leave that time open because I know that people aren't always available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Like I'm not a dentist. They're probably going to need me another time. And I know other people are. But that was a big deal. And I really do love what we do. Like I'm obsessed with this job. Somebody asked me one time, when's the last time you took a full week off and didn't work? And it was an interesting question because I was like, I don't remember. But before I thought I don't remember, my head said, that's not what you want. Like I couldn't imagine not thinking about this for 7 days straight. That would be awful. I just love what we do. And I think people deserve a better experience than, hey, you're pre-approved for 650. You'll need like roughly 20K higher. Let me know if you have any questions. Like that's the level of competition I was up against. And I'm mad that I only did 130 units because I should have done 274 because that would be 0.1% of all the residential transactions done in the state of California. I didn't do 0.1% of them. And I get really mad about that because people deserve a better experience. And I think Katie probably gets mad about hers because she is so confident in her client experience, not her client process, her client experience, that when she sees deals happening in her market and that she's not a part of them, she knows that those people didn't get the best, and that probably frustrates her. And that's what we all need to feel. We need to feel that level of frustration to where people deserve better, people deserve me, and I need to do more to get people to see me faster. Realtors, referral partners, client, all of the above. I have to be seen faster so that people get the best. And if you don't feel that your experience is the best, you need to work on it.
Thank you for saying that. So a lot of people might have heard they need to see me more. And now you're thinking, oh crap, he just gave me a subliminal message that I've got to get on social media and I need to get on video. And that's what I need to do. No, you need to use your archetype to blow it up. Okay. I hate to say it, but Sean is good looking, articulates really well, great communicator, and could tell a story on marketing. But if he doesn't ever convert the attention of fans into his one-on-one meetings where he can demonstrate his technical abilities, his business would not grow. And so I guarantee me working with Sean, I could help you get to 274 if we just looked at the refinement of like, okay, these are all the people that love you and this is their demographic. These are the people you like working with. How do we get those 10 people to refer you to these 10 people? What's the easiest way for you to do the process Katie just did to show them, here's what I do. And you're not having to go spray and pray to 25 people. You're shooting more like at a target versus this rifle approach and this puking on the internet approach. Okay. So, totally. And Sean, do you do like a value bomb email? Like, did you take what you did on Saturday as a storyteller marketer and then use that story for someone else?
I think I did on social, not on email.
Okay.
And my insecurity with that is, I don't want to brag, right? I want other people to talk about me. I want them to go tell their friends, hey, this guy was incredible. No, I know, but that's the insecurity, right? So like the other, like again, anyone who's on here, if whether you have a coach or not, like I love Shayla. Shayla's probably, I think Shayla is my favorite coach in the mortgage space. Because I can relate to her and she doesn't force you to be what you want to be. Figure out your archetypes and lean into that as hard as you possibly can. Like no one else does that, right? Other ones are like, do it my way or you're going to lose. But my insecurity is I don't want to brag about myself. I want other people to do it. And that's not a good thing. It's just what it's been. And I'm getting over that, but it's what it's been. And like, I didn't have a client experience visual until this year. Like I was like, my realtors know their clients have an incredible experience. That's why they refer me, but they're kind of referring me blindly. And that's not a good thing. So I created a presentation. I bought an iPad that the only thing that's on the iPad is the presentation. So when I go to a coffee appointment, I can show them visually, like this is every step of what your client's going to see. And I could take it a step further and do what Katie just said and said, now jump on, most of mine are Zooms, not in persons because everyone's so spread out, but jump on Zoom with me when I do your client consultation so you can see it firsthand. Like that is genius and so simple to do.
Brilliant. That's so good. So Mike Carpenter on our Catalyst call this morning wins for this storytelling because he just closed a loan with a parole officer with a down payment assistance product. And like, it was a super win. We all have these miracles we pull off all the time. Right. And what he did is he turned around and called agents. He's a trust builder. And he used his trust builder to say, hey, we haven't done a deal in a while, but I just had this major win with a parole officer. Who do you know who? That's a script. Who do you know who is a police officer? Now your real estate agents are going, who do I know in my network? Not on my Zillow leads or my realtor.com leads or anything. Like, who do I know in my real life network that's a police officer? And then Mike can say, can I just call him and just tell him the success story? Because that one police officer probably knows 25 more police officers. Now we're in the money using a story of helping somebody. That's not bragging, Sean. That's actually saying, I just did something that could help you make money. Like, let me tell you the story because you could take it to your network. So that's the one little shift in belief that now gets you to tell more stories because it's not bragging, it's educating. I want to know the mortgage coach. Like, I know you're really proficient in mortgage coach and you've figured out the visuals, but for this particular client on a Saturday morning, what did you have pre-prepared for the meeting so that you could wow them? I mean, first of all, the other guy didn't do one at all. And now you have a professional presentation. Are you looking for it?
I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and again, you guys, if anyone's seen me do the mortgage coach things, like it's the same, like Katie, it's the same thing every time, right? Because I believe that the way I do this is the best way to do it. And so I do the same thing every time. And then I just listen. And I always love doing mortgage coach Zooms because while you're having a conversation with them, you can make tweaks and changes through the process. So that's what we were doing. They're like, wow, I can't believe how fast you can update that website. And it's like, yeah, this is all live. I got nothing to hide. I'm showing you exactly how everything works. I always have a video. So my process is realtor, do an email intro to me. It is the stickiest. Your clients on average will be in contract within 26 days if they're introduced by email. So you don't just tell people to do it your way because it's your way. You have to show them why they will win if they do it your way. So I always explain that. And then they'll do, we do our initial consult, they'll get pre-approved. And then I send them a link to their mortgage coach with their pre-approval letter. The agent's copied on that. And I always have a video on there to explain it, because without this video, if you get this blindly and one guy sends you an email that says you're approved for 650 and you need 20 grand to close, and then they get this, it's like, what the heck am I looking at? Like, this is a lot of information, and what does more info mean, and all these things. So this is what we went through together. And I had this at 650 to 750, but after we went through it, they're like, 750 is out of our comfort zone. So I always tell people, my goal is not, I don't want to tell you what you qualify for. I want to help find what you want to qualify for. I want to find your comfort zone, a monthly payment, and cash out of pocket, because those are the two things that matter to me. If owning a home means you don't get to live life the way you want to, I don't think you should buy a house. And then I just walk them through it. So we go to more info, and here's a breakdown of the payment, and here's how I calculated your property taxes, and here's how homeowners insurance is a crapshoot because of fires nowadays, and here's what the mortgage insurance costs. We walk through all of that. And then, hey, Sean, the other guy said it's like I need like 20 grand above and beyond my down payment. Like, what's he talking about? I don't know. Let's look at your closing costs. If you click fee detail, you can see a full breakdown of all the costs associated with your transactions. I have you at $11,848.72. Maybe they're charging you points and that's why their costs are so high. I don't know. It enables, by doing this and looking at data, I'm building trust in my process and myself, but I'm also building distrust in the other guy, right? Like, I have no idea why that guy isn't, he should have given you a breakdown. So taking the time to build these, I don't know, every single time, it probably takes me I'll say 5-ish minutes to build a presentation for someone now that I do it so often. It'll take me 1 minute to 2 minutes to record the video. So that's 7 minutes per client, but I convert faster because I spend 7 minutes per client, right? That's really the biggest thing I've wanted people to learn recently is I don't want you to get 1,000 leads and close 50 loans. Like, that sounds awful. You got to find the right people. You got to identify who your clients are and then figure out how to get in front of them. That's the marketer in me. And then like crush the client experience. But this is it. It's nothing special, right? Like, there's nothing fancy happening here.
Thank you for showing us this. It's basically just providing people a couple options. But like you said, it's the way in which you provide a visual. It looks super professional. Maybe that took you an hour to do. It's just like you're adding all these points up over time. And a lot of what you're saying is also building trust too, because you're saying, I'm not trying to shove you into a house, but they're seeing that in real life by the way that you're demonstrating. So guys, was this valuable? Okay. How many of you on this call are a technician? Put it in the chat if technician is one of your archetypes. Say, I am. I'm a technician. I'm a technician. For those of you that aren't, you're like, oh, I wish I could be a technician. It doesn't matter. You need to use your strengths. You need to hire a technician to build those mortgage coach for you. You know, you got to figure out how to use Trust Builder to convert, use whatever. Look at all these technicians here, Sean. So Sean is not a recruiting leader. He's not a professional coach. He is a giver. And he started way back in his career helping loan officers make money as a wholesale rep. And then he went out and did it and pulled himself out of bankruptcy and built this great life and consistent business. You love what you do. You've got just amazing energy about you, Sean. And you found a way to put some events together to continue to help loan officers because everybody asks for more, Sean, and your exact playbook. So I know you've got 3 spots left for your mindset event. I wanted to give you this stage to promote it because some of you might just say, I'd like to go spend a couple of days with Sean.
Thank you. I'll share my screen. I'll show you guys this. So basically what happened for me is I did 220 million in 2021 with me, an assistant, a processor, and like a processor assistant, 220 million. Everyone's like, Sean, will you coach? And I tried coaching, doing the every other week thing. And I hated it because people were accountable and said I didn't do the work. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want your money if you're not going to improve. And then somebody said, you know, could I shadow you? And I came up with this idea that I could teach people more in 2 days than I could in a year, and created this event in Newport Beach at a very, very specific spot for a specific reason. And I'll tell you guys why in just a minute, because you guys all might be there. But Tyler Brown works at PRMG. He was #1 in his branch. I talked to him last week. Now he's number 10 in his company as a result of this event, his own words. And what's funny is now looking at my itinerary, day 1 is all marketing and day 2 is how to be a technician. I didn't think of it that way till just now, but I've seen a lot of people that are really good at creating mortgages. They can underwrite, they know guidelines, but they don't know how to market. So if you're good at loans, but you don't know how to get them, that's a problem. And I've seen a lot of people that are really good at marketing, but they don't know how to close loans, and that doesn't work either. So that's what this event is a 2-day event, and it's like the most rewarding thing I've ever done. If you guys are interested in it, I'll put a link to it in the chat. And I have a discount code for Slay with Shay that I'll throw in there as well.
Cool. So it's roughly $2,000 for 2 days, 2 whole days. And you're showing them, like, you've got laptops open. You're showing them how to build these type of presentations, exactly your playbook of how you do what you do.
Yes, it's in the weeds. There's never more than 10 people. it's an experience. Like I really wanted it to be a very small, like tight knit group, but I show everything, and we'll spend as much time on something that we need to. And we'll move on if we don't need to, right? Where if it was 100 people in a audience, then it's the Sean show. I don't want you to do it my way. I want to help you find your way. And that's the whole plan.
So Sean, you've got 7 people signed up right now. The most that you'll have is 10. Why SoCal? Why this place?
Okay, so 3 years ago, went on spring break to Newport Beach. We stay at Lido House. It's my favorite hotel down there. Get 2 big deals in contract. The maximum commission I'll ever make is $8,000. So we get 2 deals into contract before we take off. I'm stoked. Cool. I just made $16,000. That'll help me pay for this trip with the family. We land. Client 1, hey, I just did my EMD at B of A, and they said if I use them, they'll give me this rate because of how much money I have. Can you match it? No. Why are we having this conversation now? Client 2, hey, I just did my EMD at Wells Fargo. They said if I use them, same story. I lost both, right? From when I took off to when I landed, I had money and now I don't. And then the negativity storms in, right? So then I'm at dinner with our friends at spring break, and the realtor on one of these is like, you gotta fix this. Like for one of his clients, like, dude, he doesn't want to use me. Like I'm at dinner, and I walked away from dinner, and it was the first I've walked out of dinners to take a call that you're making money on. This is the first time I did it when I was like, there was no money to be had. And I was like, this is awful. Like, this is not a good quality of life. What am I doing right now? Kind of flipped out on the agent. I'm like, dude, it's over. But then in the middle of the night, I woke up at like 2:30, and it was, this is '08 again. You're going to fail. You're not relevant anymore. Nobody likes you as a lender. All of those thoughts. And I can't go back to sleep through that. So I went downstairs to the lobby, and I wrote, I don't like how I feel right now. What made me feel this way? These $2 million deals that sound cool. Like, and I wrote it out, and I go, who makes you feel good? I love working with first responders and veterans, cops. Like this one specific client came to mind who's so gracious and refers me like crazy. Tommy is my ideal client. Where does Tommy live? Tommy lives in Brentwood. Okay, who are the realtors that I could work with in Brentwood? Typed it up. I created like a business plan that night, and then by 6 a.m., I was ready to go back to sleep, but it wasn't time anymore. It has to be at this event, or the event has to be this location for that reason, and the level of wealth that is surrounded by this location is absolutely absurd. And so for me, it's really motivating to see that and go, if them, why not me? Right? It like Shayla said, like it's a belief, right? I don't believe in the word realist. When people say they're being a realist, it means they're being a pessimist. Like Elon Musk thinks it's realistic to make rockets. That's not in my mind, but in him, it's like, that's totally doable. So I look at those things and go, if them, why not me? And I just need the reset. So that's why the event is at this very specific spot in Newport.
Well, if I had those dates open and I'm a technician, like I've already signed up and I've grabbed one of the 3 spots. Sean, you're such a giver. You have no ulterior motive. $2,000 to get this stuff is unbelievable. You walk the walk. And I would say this for any of you that are technicians and don't have marketing, he calls it marketing. That's also called a business plan. And everyone loves somebody on a mission that has clarity. That's what Sean found in his middle of the night, dark night of the soul experience was I found my mission and who I'm after and who I'm here to serve. And yes, if you can build marketing from that, great. But most importantly, we need to have that conviction in ourselves and be able to tell a story of the mission that we're on. So I highly recommend you go to Sean's event. Another idea for those of you like Katie, you're a technician, you're not a marketer. Bring your marketing teammate, if you have one, to the event. And the marketer can hear the technical side and the technical person can hear the marketer. Like I can't think of a better duo. Bring 2 of you to go get this. I've spent $10,000 a month on coaches. I spent $2,000 for 20 minutes. Ridiculous amounts of money because I always know when I invest in myself, it's the best investment. But to have somebody who does what we do in the weeds and talks to borrowers every day for 2 whole days is unlike anything else, Sean. You're really doing something magical and special here. So I wanted to give Sean the stage and to my community. I think Sean is one of us. You are one of us, Sean. And,
I'm jumping in. I'm going all in on Shayla.
I'm all in on.
I'm going to your event in September. I'm going to sign up for Catalyst. I bought my planner. I did my test. Did I miss anything?
No, A+.
Okay.
A+ to Sean
Okay.
Herrero. All right. We'll stay on for 5 more minutes. If anybody has any questions, we've officially hit time. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Oh, most important, June, go register for the Zoom in the chat right now. Put it on your, you don't have to fill it all out, but put it on your browser. The June sales mastery call, I'm going to release a challenge. I'm going to coach you guys through being a rainmaker. I'm not going to just do this. I'm going to say, this is how you go find those rad realtors and people that you really love, get names from them, get referrals from them, walk through these steps of the process. I'm calling it the 10-10-10 challenge. Okay. It's going to be powerful. And I know that if you can complete this thing, you will come out the other end going, oh, okay, I get it. I can do this. And anything that you can get, I can do this. And you could just replicate and duplicate it over and over and over and over again. You've got it. I guarantee the first 10 times that Sean built the mortgage coach scenario and went through those, it was clunky. But after you do it 10 times, you're like, okay, I got this. The first time that Katie at 29 years old has a realtor in her office and she's doing a professional meeting was clunky. Who are you? All the insecurities, but you got to do it. So come on to the June all access call or whatever I call this thing, sales mastery call. I think it's like the 12th. And again, I'll record it, but go ahead and register Thursday, June 12th. Any final questions? Anybody burning to come off mute and ask a question? Go ahead, Art.
Question. It looks the client experience and the process itself is very important, right? That's how we compete against others. And if you're a trust builder or networker, how the heck do you put an awesome client experience or a sales process? Like,
Are you saying because you're not a technician?
Correct.
Okay. Then I know a lot of people that have do you have a teammate, Art, or are you solo?
No, I have a teammate.
Okay. So you need to be supported by technicians. And so they need to put together all the technical details of the true doctor nurse. You're the doctor, you're the trust builder. You ask really, really, really good questions. You can follow up with a mortgage coach experience if you want to. I have one of our speakers at Slay with Shay is Jason Jacobs. He's the same trust builder networker. In his pre-approval meetings, he actually talks about how to write winning offers. He says, my value to you is I help you win. And he goes through a series of ways that he helps them win by getting the loan fully TBD credit approved, by writing the most competitive offer, by calling that listing agent, doing blah, 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 blah. So they see him, his value is not he's superstar technician loan officer. He doesn't know guidelines. He doesn't know paperwork. He doesn't do that in front of clients. So this is why I keep doing these calls so I can put different archetypes in front of you and you can go, oh, I get it. That's what I need to be doing. Right. So you have enough. I think you're not giving yourself credit. If you've been a loan officer this long, most people do how many loans in their life? Like 5 ever. Like they don't know what we know. You need to give yourself credit. Even if you're like, I'm not a nerd that wants to sit in the weeds and do all this stuff. It would freak me out. You only need to know that much more than your client. And you know that, right?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Can I say one thing before we take off? I wanted to say this earlier. Amy wrote earlier about doing a site visit with Katie, said, I wish I was closer. The reasons we don't do things are actually the excuses for why we don't do them. Like if you have the opportunity to go sit with Katie and you think that would make a massive difference in your business, it is worth the flight to go and do whatever the time frame is because your business will grow from it. Don't let like flights or time be the reason to not do things. I went to a dinner in Texas just because it was the right people and I flew home at 5 a.m. the next day because it was going to make a massive difference. So and I think there's probably other people doing the same thing. Like don't let a flight be the reason you don't go take advantage of something that could massively change your life.
Any final comment? I agree. Both of these guys have amazing episodes on the Mortgage Rainmaker podcast. Thank you for being here. This is the group of loan officers that will win. Keep leaning in, keep pushing yourself 1% better every day. Go attack. See you all. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
See ya.